Today we're going to take a look at group decision making and problem solving. If you have recently looked at any job postings, you may have noticed that the ability to work well in a team or the ability to work cooperatively with others have become important skills that many organizations are looking for. Team-based work has become popular in organizations of all sizes. This trend has been evolving over the last several decades. It is being driven by an environment of fast-moving global markets and rapid information flow. Organizations must be able to quickly adapt their products and services to their customer needs. In order to do this, there has been a shift to small cross-functional teams, allowing them to be more flexible. Also, with recent technological advances, virtual teams are also on the rise. Teams are no longer constrained to be in the same physical location. Teams can be made up of members from San Diego, New York City, Paris, Tokyo, and Moscow. The number and availability of communication tools that help facilitate virtual teams continue to improve and increase. Virtual teams provide many advantages to organizations, such as increased productivity, increased flexibility for its team members, and the ability to attract more qualified team members. There are also many challenges that virtual teams introduce, such as the difficulty of working within varying time zones. Collaborating with teammates in different time zones takes extra planning and flexibility. There is also a lack of social interaction between team members. Without face-to-face interaction, it is hard to create working friendships, which can lead to lack of collaboration and motivation. Additionally, many cultures may be represented on virtual teams. This can result in conflicting customs, work habits, and values. So it requires a high level of intercultural awareness. Small things such as how different cultures adjust other team members can affect team dynamics. One example of this is the use of email. Some cultures encourage short, to-the-point emails, while in other cultures, emails usually include a bit of personal interaction. In these cultures, the short and to-the-point emails could be interpreted as the sender being rude or disrespectful. The balance of advantages versus challenges of virtual teams continue to be evaluated by many industries. As it is very likely that each of you will be working within a team environment in your current or future career, let's review what the book has to say about group decision making and problem solving. Understanding group dynamics. You cannot accomplish complex tasks alone. Working in groups bring a variety of ideas, skills, knowledge, and experiences that are not available to individuals working alone. A group is made up of two or more people who interact with each other, share expectations and obligations, and develop a common identity as a group. Research has found that the group size of 5 to 7 is the optimal size for problem-solving and decision-making teams. Larger groups offer a greater pool of talent and experience, but as groups get larger, members may participate less and it becomes more difficult to manage. The way that people work and interact with each other is known as group dynamics. Members take on distinct roles and behaviors, as well as the group itself. Positive group dynamics may be seen as trust among team members holding each other accountable, and team members working towards a common goal. Organizations are embracing group projects and teamwork for the following reasons, many of which we've already touched upon. Diversity of the talent pool, rich experience base, enhanced organizational memory, more effective error detection, more creative solutions, and greater acceptance of decisions and outcomes. Evolving from a group to a team. Simply putting people together into a group does not create a team. Moving to a team requires planning and effort. A team is a group of people who work cooperatively on a common goal or object. Most groups pass through stages of cohesion and understanding before they do useful work. The goal of working in groups is to create a highly effective team. Research has shown that groups typically move through stages before they can function as a highly effective team. 5 stages of team development is a model proposed by Bruce Tuckman. He claimed that every team will go through these stages on its journey to be successful. Therefore, it is important to understand these stages so that teams can become effective as quickly as possible. The 5 stages of team development are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. I recently watched a video that illustrated these stages with the football movie Remember the Titans. In the forming stage, players from 2 different teams who did not know each other were thrown together on one team. This stage is characterized with team bonding and learning about other team members. The players began to determine where they would fit in on the team and what roles they would play. During the storming stage, there were struggles in determining how and if the team would be able to work together. This stage can be characterized by power struggles and competition among the team members. In the norming stage, team members began to trust each other. Team norms were established and the team could begin to see how they could work together. As they entered the performing stage, the team began to work towards their common goal, winning the state championship. Team mentality was achieved. The we became more important than the I. The adjourning stage occurred after the team accomplished their goal of winning the state championship. Taking what each of them had learned on this journey, the team members moved on. If you'd like to watch the clips of the movie that correspond to these stages, the YouTube URL is provided. Using divergent thinking. As we have discussed, the collective knowledge of a group is greater than that of a single person. Working in teams encourages more creativity than working individually. Divergent thinking describes thought processes or methods used to generate ideas. It is created, open-ended thinking whose purpose is to create fresh views and new solutions. Divergent thinking techniques focus on the quantity of ideas, not necessarily the quality. It attempts to avoid falling into the trap of always looking for similar solutions. It encourages new thinking, growth, and learning. Divergent thinking is usually spontaneous, free-flowing, and unorganized. Some common techniques for divergent thinking are brainstorming, which is used to quickly generate ideas and solutions to problems. Suggested ideas often lead to a path of additional ideas. For example, when brainstorming how to increase business travel, someone may suggest offering off-site meeting, which may then lead someone else to suggest providing team bonding excursions. Group mind mapping. We did mind mapping in week 2, and it is used to generate, visualize, and organize creative ideas. Free writing, rapid, uninterrupted writing used to generate ideas and solutions to problems. And lastly, journaling, which is used to keep track of ideas and possible solutions. Here's an example of mind mapping. As with many divergent thinking techniques, mind mapping ideas can be used to build off each other to create more ideas. For example, in this mind map, we are looking for ideas to increase business travel. One idea was including executive retreats, which then led to an additional idea of including spouse activities and using off-site restaurants. Using convergent thinking. While divergent thinking is used in the early stages of problem solving, convergent thinking takes those solutions identified in the divergent thinking techniques and then uses them to identify adaptable solutions. Guidelines for using convergent thinking are: cull your ideas. This means to remove impractical ideas. The most popular method for this is the 3-pile method. Ideas are separated into yes, no, or maybe piles. The team then moves forward using the yes pile, reserving the maybe files if need be. Identify the pros and cons of an idea. This involves looking for a fatal flaw in any of the ideas that will make them unusable. Perform a cost-benefit analysis. Do the benefits of the idea outweigh the costs? Create an impact analysis. What is the consequence of the idea? Who will it affect and to what degree? Reverse brainstorming. Similar to brainstorming as a divergent thinking technique, but this time Look at each idea and identify as many possible flaws or problems that you can with the idea. Let's take a look at an impact analysis for increasing business travel. One idea was to increase customers. What impact will that have? Revenue will be increased, as well as expenses. Here we need to look at the net effect of increasing customers. Will revenue be increased more than costs? If not, it may not be a feasible option because it would not increase profits. Avoiding common group traps. Some groups fall into traps that slow progress and distract members from the problem-solving objectives. There are many difficulties in participating or managing a group that are different from challenges of solving your own problems. Some guidelines to use for avoiding common group traps are: organize the overhead of the group, watch out for stress among the group, avoid the Superman complex, and look out for groupthink. Let's take a closer look at groupthink. Groupthink is a term that was coined by a psychologist in 1972. He defined it as a mode of thinking that people engage in when they are deeply involved in a cohesive in-group, when members striving for unanimity override their motivation to realistically appraise alternative courses of action. Usually, groupthink occurs in highly cohesive teams, where one or more team member will go with the unanimous decision of the group despite their doubts. Often, there is pressure to reach a consensus, or perhaps a feeling that if everyone else is in agreement, I should probably go along with it too. This often leads to defective decision-making. Many attribute the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster to groupthink. On January 28, 1986, 73 seconds after liftoff, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. It was determined that a malfunction of the seal of an O-ring caused the explosion. Prior to launch, there were several questions regarding the O-rings, but due to a decision affected by groupthink, the timeline of the launch was not altered. Working with large group. Large groups and those with members in more than one location require extra time for planning, organizing, and managing. In these large groups, good communication skills are vital. Guidelines for working with large groups. Manage the logistics. How and when will the team meet? How will information be shared among the team members? Expand communication channels. Large groups may need to employ multiple communication channels to facilitate communication among its team members, such as emails and discussion threads. Build consensus. Building consensus among the group becomes more difficult the greater number of people involved. Meet online to help facilitate everyone's schedules, and distribute documents and supporting material electronically. The last thing I would like to touch on is how students are being prepared to work in these team-based environments. Most higher educational faculty recognize this need and have developed learning objectives focused on enhancing students' teamwork skills. However, it has become apparent that it is often difficult to simulate a team environment in many courses. Just ask most students what their opinion is of group work in courses. It usually is not favorable. I think there are several reasons for this. Let's go back to the 5 stages of team development that we talked about earlier. Due to time constraints, teams are usually go right from the forming stage to the performing stage, skipping the important stages of storming and norming. Additionally, often group assignments are not tackled with a team approach. Rather, the assignment is broken down into smaller parts that students can do individually. Teamwork is a skill, and as with any skill, it needs to be taught, practiced, and refined. A proper mix of appropriate instruction and opportunity to practice are needed. So whether you enjoy working in groups or not, it will likely be a part of your future. My advice to you is to try and take advantage of any group projects you are assigned. Look at them as a way to develop teamwork skills you will need in the future.